welcome back to Settle Carlisle 68 and the final episode of the Tunnel Top Scenics, and as you can see it's now complete. So all of the scenery, the derelict barn, the fields, and just panning across all of the streams now complete. We've got all of the rocks in place, and the farm track and all the trees and bushes are now added. And in this episode I'm going to show you where we left off and how we finished this tunnel top scene. So without further ado, we'll move across to what we did with the stream. Okay, so onto the stream, and we left it in episode 2 whereby the larger stones are in place. I put a few coats of the clear muddle water down on the bed of the stream, just to give it that watery look. So no actual water pour was sort of involved in the stream, because it's not really a fast flowing stream, it's more of a trickle. And on the river bed, or the stream bed should I say, I used these sort of smaller grey stones, but I wasn't really happy with the way it sort of turned out, so I actually ended up trying to paint the water and the stones, and it turned out sort of a green murky mess. So I thought of a plan B, and plan B was to base the stream really on what I'd seen on a visit in the summer to the Settle in Carlisle area, and this was a photograph that I took of the stream. So as you can see, it's sort of a reddish browny rock, and then there's just small pools of water collecting as it sort of trickles down the hillside. So yeah, it's quite a long stream that comes down the hillside, and that's what I'm basically trying to replicate. So that's another photograph of the stream and it flowing through the hills. So that's what I was trying to replicate with the grasses and the rocks and the tufts around where the stream flowed through. So what I then decided to do, as you can see here, was replicate the colour of the stones, and I managed to find some which was nigh on, I think, pretty similar to the ones that you saw in the photographs. And again, it's sort of a reddy brown, sort of small rocks. Again, I got those from WWS, and I basically applied another layer of the clear muddle water. So I painted that over the top of the grey stones, and then I literally got the red stones and then just sprinkled them down where the stream was, and then just pushed them into the muddle water. So it sort of gives the effect where you can see the water just through underneath the stones, but you also get the stones on top that aren't wet, so to speak. So hopefully that gives a good effect of the stream that I was trying to sort of copy. I'm happy with how it sort of turned out. I could maybe look at pooling some more water in certain areas, and that may be something that I do in the future. Okay, so we'll just go through how I sort of create the moorland field, and we left it in the last episode whereby all of the dry stone walls are in place, and we've given the whole field, apart from these three sort of patches, where we'd left the mud showing. It was all covered in a static grass, and that was 2mm muddy by WWS. So we had the first layer of 2mm grass on there. So the next phase in creating that is to then apply two products on top of the muddy, and you can just about make them out here. So the first of these is the 2mm summer, and basically the first stage of that is on top of the previous coating of static grass. You then apply a layer of where you want the summer grass to go, which is in the sort of the low-lying areas. So I use the static grass layering spray, so that gets sprayed on in the areas, and then I fill up the applicator, which is this, and then I will go over quite lightly in the area with the summer, as I say, in the low-lying areas. So not applying too much, and the applicator, the Progress micro applicator is great for that. As I say, it's got a smaller sort of grill in there, which just lets the smaller grasses through in a lower sort of quantity. So once we've got the summer grass on, we then want to pick out the higher points, I guess, with this burnt grass or summer grass, and for that I use the straw beige 2mm. So I found that gives a really good colouring of the grass, as per you see on the moorland. So if you look at the photographs, this has actually got quite a bit of sort of dead grass on there, but you get a good mix of the muddy, 2mm muddy, the summer, and the beige. And the idea is you build them up very lightly rather than try and put too much on at once, and then you get all the blends of the colours over the moorland. And really that's quite a simple process, and you can either go back on and put, you know, further grasses on if you're not quite happy with the way it's looking. So then we move on to putting further textures and colours into the field. So for instance, the first probably vegetation that you see are these tufts. So after this overview, there's a video of how I make the tufts and how we apply them to the field, and also how we added the other vegetation, the weeds and the other grasses and so on. But for this field, we've used the tufts in quite an abundance, like you would see on the moors. And then in areas I've also added some other textures and some bushes against the wall. So all these are just glued in place with PVA glue. But what I use for those are, for the actual bushes, I use the Woodland Scenic's light green bushes, so these are slightly smaller. And then for the, which is one of my favourite products for adding sort of patches over the actual grass area, like here, I use the Moorland Scenic's fine turf burnt grass T44. And the way I apply those is I use the layering spray again. Just apply a small amount of layering spray in the selected areas, for example here, and then just sprinkle on the product, so the burnt grass fine turf. And then the other product I've used, not necessarily in this field, but on other parts of the tunnel top, I've used the fine turf weeds, which are quite a dark green, so I tend to go quite lightly on those. And then the other product that I use, again, probably if I just swing around the camera, as you'll see on this area we've got some other grasses, sorry, some other textures that I use, which is a little bit thicker than the fine turf. So I use the coarse turf. So this is a Woodland Scenic product again. I've got this in a bigger tub. So this is T63 light green turf. So again, I put some layering sprayer on and then just sprinkle that into the area. And you'll see here is where I've used the burnt grass fine turf just over the top as well to give it a different texture. And that's really the key to building up the scene. It's using lots of different products, textures, colours, without overdoing it, and also keeping the base colour as well, which was the original 2mm muddy, which you can just about make out in certain areas. But overall, I think it gives it a good finish, and looks in line and realistic with the moorland that you see around the Settling Carlisle line. So yeah, so we'll run into the videos now that show you how I make the tufts. Okay, just before we go into the video of how we make the tufts, I just thought I'd show you the materials that I actually use. So for the actual tufts themselves, I mix sort of a blend of 3 colours. So I use all 4mm. I think probably about 10% is North Euro, and then I split up the other 90% with dead and patchy WWS 4mm static grass, and then give it a mix together, and then put that in the applicator. So I just use the standard WWS applicator, which you'll see in the video. And what I do is I use this product. I also get this from WWS, but I believe some people use sort of standard greaseproof paper, but this basically is tough paper that I get from WWS. It's relatively inexpensive. And then I suppose the key to it is the glue. So again, a WWS product. So this is tough glue. So they're the 3 main items that I use, and obviously the applicator. So let's see the video of how I actually make the tufts, and you can see the results at the end. Okay. Okay, so in this next part of the video, I was just going to show you two of the features of the scene. The first one being the derelict barn, and not glued down yet, but you can see it's a scratch built structure which I constructed from plasticard and ratio doors, but the rest of it is scratch built, so that'll be glued into place. And the inspiration for that was a barn that I saw on the Settling Carlisle route on my way up to one of the stations up there. So I saw this derelict barn and thought I would sort of copy that and add it into the scene. So another part of the scenery I just wanted to cover was the making of these trees. I've covered this before in other videos, but I'll just do a quick part of the video, just show you how I make the trees for this scene, and also what I use the same technique for the trees on the rest of the layout. So I just wanted to share with you how I do my trees for the layout, and this is one that I've made earlier. So these are basically sea foam trees. So they start life as a piece of sea foam, and the ones I use are from Gauge Master. So you can get these on from most model shops, I guess, and you get a good number of different size and shapes in the box, which you can sort of pick out. I usually pick them out and sort them out into different shapes of trees, and they come in sort of different shades of colour. So you've got the red shades and the lighter shades. The only thing really you need to do to them is get rid of the seed pods, which you can possibly make out here. So I just use a pair of tweezers and just pull these seed pods off. Otherwise they don't look very good when you come to do the finished painting. So just some of them don't have them on at all, but you can quickly go through the tree and take these seed pods off. So that's the only thing you really need to do to prepare. So as I said, they're in different sort of colours. You can either leave them like that and then apply your foliage to the trees. What I tend to do with my trees is I give them a coat of black paint, just standard black matte paint. So yeah, just use just standard matte super plastic coat paint. So give them a paint, and then I'm ready, once they dry, ready to move on to the next stage. So for this you can select your colour of foliage. So this is sort of a mid green. What we're going to use is a lighter green. So I tend to use the Woodland Scenic's coarse turf. So I put it in a large box like this, so you can sprinkle the foliage over the tree, and the rest of it just falls back into the box. So we will basically next apply the foliage to the tree. So what do I stick it to the sea foam with? I use static grass layering spray. You can use contact adhesive, you can use varnish. I've tried different methods, they're all pretty much the same, but I think the layering spray is probably the most sort of effective, really. So yeah, let's spray one up with layering spray and just see how we make a tree. So I've just given the sea foam a coat of layering spray, so just on the outside, because It's quite toxic. So then I just get the coarse foliage, and then just tend to drop it from the top. You just sprinkle that all over the tree. You could sort of dip it in the foliage, but I think you would then get probably too thick a coat. It would look too clumpy. Okay, so just coming to the last part of the video, and it was just to give you a flyover of the finished scene, and also just run through some of the finishing details that I've added to the scene itself. So as you can see, all finished. So we come to sort of the first of the detail items, and that's these gates. So these are ratio N-gauge gates, come part of a kit. So I've just painted those with a wood paint and wood colour paint, and just weathered them up with some dry brushing with white, I think it is. Then we move on to the first of the vehicles. So we've got a Replitech Land Rover, which I've weathered up with some mud and so on, and I've done the same with the trailer, which is an Oxford die-cast N-gauge trailer. So moving across for more details, so we've got the sheep. So they're model scene, so just painted those up with some black and a mix that I did of white and I think a brown to get the coat of the sheep the right colour. And then we've got a water trough, they're made by PD Marsh. I think you get 3 in a pack. So I've just painted those up with sort of a gunmetal colour to represent sort of the galvanised finish, and then just put some sort of rust on there, fine amount of dry brushing of rust. And then we come over to another of the Replitech Land Rovers, and then the farmer and the sheepdog is a Farish model, which I put all of the Farish models, or all the figures, on sort of plastic that you can make out, sort of a plastic base, so you can move them about if you want to change the scene. Should stand up. And then the final 2 pieces on the scene are the tractor on the right, which is an Oxford die-cast, which I've just weathered up, and then the shepherd's hut on the left hand side, which is a painted Replitech model. So that's the finished scene. So hopefully you enjoyed the 3-part series. The next part, scenic work I'll do, will be part of some of the updates, probably the May update, but I'll just give you a quick preview of what I'm going to be doing next at this end of the layout. Okay, so just drawing to a close on the video, and just thought I'd give you a quick preview of what we're going to be doing next to complete this end of the layout. So as you can probably make out, the sort of the white coating that I've just put on about an hour or 2 ago for the water. So that's the second coat over the top of the mud that I applied. So what I'll be allowing that to do is let that dry, and then I'll be applying, putting the rocks and so on in place as I described for the technique for the upper end of the stream. So I've just put this gate in place to stop any debris coming down, any sheep escaping and falling down the stream. And I've also added these pieces of rock or slate, and these will be blended in with various scenics as I've done above. As you can see, I've added some other stones as well, so they'll all be blended into the scene. So the stream continues to run down, and then under the viaduct. So this will be part of the next amount of work I'm doing, as well as cladding this the viaduct with plasticard, as I showed you in a previous video. And then yeah, we'll just see how this area sort of develops over the coming weeks and months. Okay, so we'll leave it there. Hopefully you enjoyed the tunnel top scenic video. Hopefully you've picked up some ideas, some tips and some techniques of what you can do on your model railway layout. Obviously this is an N-gauge layout, but I'm sure a lot of the techniques that I use can be carried over to other scales, but I do find that the N-gauge is almost harder in some ways to get the scene so it doesn't look sort of overdone with scenics. Hopefully I've achieved that, and hopefully you can leave some comments what you think of the final scene, and any comments on what we're about to do with this scene as well as. Okay, so thanks for watching. Thanks to all the subscribers, all the new ones that have come on board. Hopefully you like the video, and we'll see you soon with the next update, which will be the April update, which will be coming in a week or two's time. Okay, thanks guys, see you later, bye.